The Raiders have overcame a lot. I've already talked about this the whole entire season. But they're finally here. Las Vegas Raiders 2022 roster grades. Let's get right into it. Like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NFL. Of course, we have the Raiders roster grades today. Finished Panthers one earlier today, but either way, the news, Hank Goldberg dies at 82. He was a former ESPN announcer. He was very good. Very good play-by-play. And then the question that came up by reporters, will Devontae Adams decline with Aaron Rodgers? We'll get into that in the video. Either way, guys, let's get right into it. I'm about to have a blast. Okay, starting out with quarterback, Derek Carr. Derek Carr's a really good quarterback. Like, top 10, top 15, definitely top 15. He's not the most conservative quarterback by any means, but he threw for, like, the 4th most yards in the league. Probably 5th or something. Whatever, it was top 5, I know that. Yeah, 5th most passing yards, 4,804 yards, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Of course, played his first playoff game. He was good in that. He did take 40 sacks, though, which is on the offensive line and him. He had a very good completion percentage, though, 68.37, which was top. I mean, what was it? Yeah, it was top. It was one of the best in the league. I can check right now. His completion percentage was, let's see. Derek Carr's completion percentage was 5th in the NFL among active guys. So he was accurate, which is huge. So it's not all on him in terms of the interceptions. Not only that, but his yards per attempt was up there too, 7.7. Completions 428. He did take a lot of attempts, 626. He doesn't really run the ball well. He had 13 fumbles though. Overall, he had 19 turnovers, which isn't great. Of course, he's been to 3 Pro Bowls. Was the AFC Offensive Player of the Month this year, which is big. So overall, Derek Carr's a good quarterback. Nick Mullins isn't the worst backup in the world. Jarrett Stidham, we already know he's not the answer. And Chase Garbers, nah, rookie, whatever. Now, okay, that's your quarterback room for the Raiders. Okay, for the grade, I'll give him a B+. I do think Derek Carr is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Top 10, yes, but I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he's not the A tier. He's not that good. You see, he got a 4-year, $160 million deal. That's a franchise quarterback, $40 million per year, yes. But he's not getting Josh Allen money, which tells something. He's not an elite quarterback. He's a really good quarterback, though. We know that he's a franchise-level quarterback. He's shown that. I think B+ is very fair for them. He's in the conversation for top 10, probably top 12. B+ is very fair. He's not in that A tier, which is almost elite quarterbacks. You could say A-, but I think that is a little stretch considering he hasn't won a playoff game. That's the reason. Like, Matt Stafford's an A tier, and he's right there. And, like, Kyler Murray he's not even A tier either. But, yeah, I think B+ is there. You have an A-, I wouldn't say that's the worst either. But A's elite tier, so I don't think that's there. So that's 24 out of 30, I think. Yeah, 24 out of 30, which I think is fair. Now let's get to the running back. Okay, the running back room for the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, he is a good running back. That's my opinion on him. He gets in the end zone. He only had 4 yards per carry on 217 attempts, 870 yards. He didn't really break many. His longest rush was 28 yards, which is also on the offensive line as well. But he wasn't as explosive. He was actually a pretty good weapon in the receiving game in all his facets, considering what type of running back he is. His catch percentage wasn't anything special. His total scrimmage yards, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 271 total touches, which isn't bad at all. Speed average was 7.7. Solid running back. Kenyon Drake in only 12 games, he did get an injury. What was it? I think he tore his ACL or something. Yeah, he had missed the last 5 games with an ankle injury. But for a backup, he's really good. 63 carries, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 yards per carry is meh. But remember, he didn't do a lot when he was out there, but he's still a good player. 30 catches, 291 yards, 1 touchdown. 75% catch percentage. Speed of grade 73.1, which is decent. And then you have Zamir White. I like Zamir White a lot. He's very, very, very smart. Very, very, very elusive. Very good vision. He's just a good running. He's a good running back in that sense. Brandon Bolden, good power back. He's small, but he has a really good motor. He doesn't get hurt a lot either, which is huge. So overall, it's pretty good running back room. Okay, for the running backs, I think a B is fair because they have really good depth and they have really good running backs. They have a number 1 in Josh Jacobs, who's a good running back. So I like their running back room. I don't think it's B+ tier, just for the fact that the running back room is good, but I don't think they have another capable starter. Like Kenyon Drake is not a starting caliber running back. He's a good really good backup, but I don't know if they have that super good running back room. I think it's a B is definitely fair. B+ you could definitely say as well, but they're not going to be a running offense this year. They're going to throw the ball a lot more, which is good because you saw last year they weren't that efficient in the running game, which is a problem in some senses. That's why they're a B. Because honestly, they're probably an A tier running back room if they were more efficient. That comes with the offensive line too. But as a running back room, I think they're good. They took a step back last year. Like I said, they're a good running back room. B, that's 3.67 plus 12, 15.67 out of 20. Very respectable. Now let's get to wide receivers. Okay, this wide receiver room is very interesting. Of course, you have Davante Adams, the best receiver in the NFL. 123 catches for 1,553 yards, 11 touchdowns, 12.6, what is it called? 12.6 yards per reception, 592 YAC yards. He had 3 drops at 1.77%. He's very good hands. 59 long, and then he also had a 92.7 PFF. He's been in 2017 through 21 Pro Bowls. It's 5 Pro Bowls. 2020 and 2021 First Team All-Pro. 2016 Week 7 NFC Offensive Player of the Week. There's not much more you have to say about Davante Adams, other than the fact that he's not the best receiver in the NFL, the second best receiver in the NFL. Then you got another great receiver, second most underrated player in the league, in my opinion, Hunter Renfrow. He had 103 catches for 1,038 yards, 9 touchdowns. Prototypical white slot receiver. That's all I have to say about him. He only had 2 drops, which is pretty crazy. And along with that, he also had his long was only 43 yards, which might bring up some questions, but for sure, their explosive guy is Demarcus Robinson from the Chiefs. He's very good. Keelan Cole, another good receiver as well. Very good at getting over the top. Matt Collins, good in the red zone, big body. And even Tyron Johnson, he's good in the red zone too. So they have 6 guys that, Tyron Johnson, Matt Collins, you probably don't want as your 3rd receiver, but they're still decent, and Keelan Cole's a good 4th receiver. Okay, A- for the receiver. I'll give them an A. They have a very good receiving core. I really do. They have a very good receiving core. The depth is not perfect. DeMarcus Robinson isn't great, but they have 6 receivers that I can trust out there making plays. That's huge. And not only that, but they have 2 number 1 receivers. Call me crazy, but Hunter Renfrow is a top 15 receiver in my opinion. He's the second best slot receiver in the NFL behind Cooper Kupp, and he's so good at running routes. Very good hands. Good in the red zone. You can't ask for much for him there. And they have good versatility as well because they have 2 receivers that are great in the red zone, like phenomenal in the red zone. They have a couple explosive guys. They have a couple physical guys. It's awesome. And the fact you have Davante Adams is just nuts. And you have other guys there too. It's not just him for Derek Carr. He's got weapons galore. A is fair for me there. I think they have a very good receiving core. See how they play, but overall they do have a really good receiving core. Best for Derek Carr, and he's had some decent receiving cores as well. A, that's 19.67 out of 20. I'll actually give him an A-. Just for the fact that they haven't actually played together, and there's receiving cores that are better than them. I think they are slept there, though, so that's 19.33 out of 20 for them. Now it's tight ends. Okay, for the tight end, Darren Waller, top 5 tight end. I still think he's 3rd best tight end in the NFL. Yeah, he had some injury issues, but he was out there very productive. Only 2 touchdowns, but when he got targets, he delivered. 93 targets, 55 catches, 665 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a lot of double teams. 242 YAC is big too. He had 5 drops. He doesn't have the greatest hands, but he's very fast. 38 long isn't great, but he had 2020 Pro Bowl. He missed 6 games with a hip injury, which was nagging him. But overall, He only has 68.2 PFF. He's not a great blocker, but I still think Darren Waller's a monster. Foster Moreau, when he stepped in, he was good too. 30 catches, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is much more of a blocking tight end. I don't think PFF graded him right there. He is a blocking tight end that can catch as well. And then you have Jacob Hollister there too. He's made some big catches. He's actually pretty clutch as well. So overall, it's a good tight end room. Okay, for tight ends. Whew. A minus. Darren Waller's a really good tight end, but their depth isn't great, and I'll give him an A because he is top 3. Yeah. Their weapons are really good, and their tight end room is really good as well. Like I said, Darren Waller is a top 5 tight end. I think he's 3rd in the NFL. I think he's better than Mark Andrews because he's at least a better blocker. At 4 is fine actually, but like I said, I'm really high on the Raiders' weapons. It's top 5 in the NFL, most likely. But I think an A's fair there, so that's 10 plus, it's at 15. 14.67 out of 15, which I think is fair. Now let's get to the offensive line. Offensive line, Colton Miller's starting tackle, franchise guy. Don't need to say much other. 84 PFF. He only had 5 penalties. He gave up 4 sacks, but yes, you got to remember, he played every single snap of the season. Brandon Parker's not good. Denzel Good is bad. Really bad. I'm joking. Denzel Good played 1 game, and he tore his ACL, so you got to remember that he slowly breaks on Denzel Good. But John Simpson, when he was out there, he was pretty bad. 52.6 PFF. He had 10 penalties and 9 holding penalties. He got burned a lot. And even the run game, he wasn't good. Andre James, I'll give him credit. He did a good job at center this year. Hernan Grasu is he played 9 games for the San Francisco in 2020, so he didn't really play at all last year. When he did, but in 2020 he wasn't good. Jermaine Elnor for the Raiders was a backup caliber guy, but I don't think he's the worst. Dylan Parham, rookie out of 3rd round pick, 90. So good depth there. Then you have Alex Leatherwood, who was very bad last year. He had 14 penalties, and biggest of all, he gave up 8 sacks, which is not good. He struggled a lot. Jackson Barton, in 2 games as a backup, didn't do much. This is a really rough offensive line, but to be honest, the depth isn't terrible, but the fact that it's just a struggling offensive line, it's a big fall from grace. It's really sad. Okay, for the offensive line, I'll give him a C minus. It's not the worst offensive line in the NFL because they do have a lot of potential, but it's not good. They have potential, which is huge. You want that potential, but not a good offensive line. You do have a left tackle, which is huge. You do have another starter. I do think John Simpson's not a bad player. So, overall, it's meh. They have some big holes. Alex Leatherwood struggled. He cannot be that bad again. But the C minus is just a little concerning. That's 2.33. 2.33 plus 6 is 8.333 out of 15, which is that. Now let's get to the overall offensive grade. So the offense comes out to a B and an 82 out of 100, but I gotta bump them up to the B plus. This offense will be very good just for the fact that they have so many playmakers and so much talent. That is a necessity for this Raiders team, especially in the division they're in. And trust me, they will have a very good offense this year. I don't think it's elite offense, but it's pretty darn close. Now let's get to the defense. Okay, for this defense, starting out with the linebackers. Denzel Perryman, starting caliber. You don't need to say much else. Jayon Brown, he's been solid his whole career. If anything, he's been better than solid in my opinion. Then Divine Diablo, 3rd round pick last year. I'll be honest with you, he kind of struggled. Didn't he get hurt? Yeah, but when he was out there, he struggled a little bit, but he wasn't the worst rookie linebacker by any means. Then you got Kenny Young. Kenny Young is solid. I don't need to say much else. Same thing with Micah Kaiser. Both former Rams, played for Denver last year as well. They make mistakes, but they're both solid tacklers, and especially Kenny Young. He has potential to make a lot of plays. Kyler Fackrell is your playmaking linebacker. He cleans a lot of the stuff up, but he's more of a will linebacker in my opinion. He makes a lot of the plays you need. And he just has a knack for creating turnovers, which is huge. Overall, I like this linebacking core. Okay, for this linebacking core, B. The depth is very good. I do think they have very good depth. And not only that, but all those guys are starting caliber. Divine Diablo, yeah, he got hurt, but he has a lot of talent. There's a reason he got picked in the 3rd round last year. And even bigger, like, Jayon Brown is he is a above average middle linebacker. He got hurt too, but like I said, any of those backups, they can start. They're that good, but they all obviously have some issues. But I do think this is actually a really good linebacking core. Much improved from last year, which is huge. So that's 3.33, 3.67 plus 12, 15.67 out of 20. Very good. I really do like this. It's a good linebacking core. Now let's get to the defensive line. Okay, defensive line. Max Crosby, best story in sports. Like, he had more. Here's this. I love Max Crosby. He's top 10 edge rusher in the NFL. Like, that's not even arguable. He has the best, probably the best motor in the NFL too. He has a wonderful story as well. The one thing, I don't think he's the most technically sounded. That's the most, if I had to put one knock on him, it would be that. And not, and also, he had the reason he had the 20 more pressures than anyone else in the NFL, even J.J. Watt, because his motor is so crazy. He has such a good motor. He overcame a lot. This dude has a big chip on his shoulder. I love him. But one thing is, he's not the most technically sounded, especially on finesse moves. Other than that, he's good. If he can get his second move's good too. Like, he knows what he's doing with that. It's just the fact his hand speed is not up there. And if he get, I am expecting him. No joke. I'm expecting him to come out against the Chargers against who the heck is it? Storm Norton or Rashawn Slater, and he'll have that second move ready, and he'll be much more improved technically. But other than that, he's really good. Cleveland Farrell, biggest bust ever. Like, I don't even say anything else. John Hankins, solid inside guy, big man. Baleel Nichols, same thing. Baleel Nichols has actually been good. Vernon Butler, Kyle Pecco. Kyle Pecco's a good vet, and Vernon Butler is a very, very good backup, and he actually can start too. Matt Butler, I've never heard of Matt Butler. He was a 5th round pick this year, though, out of Tennessee. Oh, now I remember this guy. He stuffs throwing. Tyler Lancaster used to be a starter over in Green Bay. Chandler Jones, like, he was pretty inconsistent last year at 5 sacks, though. He can still be great, and that's him. Chandler Jones is good. And you also have Malcolm Kuntz, 3rd round pick last year. A lot of potential. He only had his 2 sacks for didn't get much playing time. He will this year, though. I really do like he has really good speed. He's not very technically sounded, but other than that, he's decent. Okay, A- for the defensive line. The fact, I think they have really good depth. It's just the fact that there's there's obviously superstars there, but I'm saying there's not, like, we haven't seen them together, number one. Number two, I am not expecting this defensive line to be the best in the NFL. And if you're an A or A plus, you're going to be the best in the NFL. This thing, I expect them to be top 5. I just don't expect them to be the best. For that reason, they're A-. I do think this is a really good defensive line, though. So that's 10 plus 4.33 is 14.3 out of 15, which is really good. Now let's get the pass rush. Okay, this pass rush is very interesting because Max Crosby and Chandler Jones are 2 of the best pass rushers in the NFL. But the depth is not there. That's just the truth. Like, truth about it. These guys up here, they're run stuffers. Vernon Butler can't get after the quarterback. We've seen that. But Cleveland Farrell and Malcolm Kuntz, you can't expect them to get after the quarterback at all because, number one, Cleveland Farrell is a bust, and Malcolm Kuntz is very raw. And other than that, these guys back here, we have no idea who the heck these guys are, number one. And number two, we can't really expect much out of them either. But they do have a great 1-2 punch. It's one of the best in the NFL. Gotta keep that in mind. Their depth is not there, though. They have no depth in pass rush, which can be an issue if one of those guys gets hurt. Pass rush depth is really important. That's why I have to give them a B+ pass rush wise. But realistically, they're gonna have an A pass rush. It's just the fact they have no depth there. You can't look me in the straight face and tell me I can't give them an A here because they don't have that. They literally just don't have that depth. If they had at least one more guy that I'm confident that could get after the quarterback consistently, they'd be in the A tier. They just don't have that depth, which is kind of a problem. So B+, that's 4. That's what is it called? 4 plus 16, 20 out of 25. Very good. Just don't have that depth, which is why they're there. Cornerback time. Okay, for the Raiders at corner, the big loss losing Casey Hayward, who was top 5 corner last year. But Rock Ya-Sin, he's good. Like, he's good. That's all I have to say about him. He's proven he's a solid starting quarter. Trayvon Mullen Jr., very underrated. Anthony Averett was awful last year, but he struggled last year, I'll be honest with you, in the slot and out wide. You cannot have him playing out wide. Nate Hobbs, very, very, very underrated slot guy. He's really, really good. And then you also have Darius Phillips, who's good at in zone. Amik Robertson, why have I never heard of him? I've never heard of Amik Robertson. And then, of course, Trayvon LeBlanc is washed up, and same thing with Sam Webb. It's a decent cornerback room. It's nothing really that special, though. I'll be honest though, I think it's a little bit above average cornerback room because they always overperform what they're supposed to. Like, the reason the Raiders defense was bad a couple years ago was not because their cornerback room. They were decent. They did their job. Obviously now they're better, which is big, but losing Casey Hayward moves them probably down from B, but I do think this is they always overperform, which is big. That's why I give them a B+. B-, my bad, instead of like a C. So that's B-, that's 3, that's 12, that's 3.33, that's 15.33 out of 20, which is obviously good. Now let's get to the safeties. Safety time. Jonathan Abram, box safety, nothing more. Trayvon Moehrig is a monster. He is very good. Deron Harmon, solid guy. Tyree Gillespie, I don't know much about Tyree Gillespie. I've watched him on film, obviously, but he didn't get much playing time, and obviously he isn't the most, developed player right now, just from the fact that he plays more special teams, and he missed a lot of coverage when he was out there, and he just doesn't get in there a lot, which is kind of a problem, but for a backup safety. But overall, it's whatever for the safety. Like I said, Trayvon Moehrig is really good, but other than that, it's just meh. I gotta give him a B- because you can't have one superstar safety patrolling the back, and you just don't. You can't. Well, you know what? I actually have to give him a B. I can't give him a B+ because even Jonathan Abram isn't that great, and their depth isn't perfect either. But the fact they have a really good combo, I gotta admit, Jonathan Abram does not have to. He has no pressure put on him to play deep because he's not that type of corner safety. Oh, he can just play the box and do his thing. But Trayvon Moehrig is so good over the top. He's such a good free safety. Like, he covers most of the assignments he needs to, which is huge. So B, that's 15.67 out of 20, which is fair. Like I said, they always overperform there as well. This is a pretty darn good defense in all facets. So overall, this defense is a B and 81 out of 100, which I think is fair because it's a good defense, obviously. They have a lot of talent. The depth is not good, though. That's the one problem with the Raiders. I don't think their depth is that great. At some positions, it's decent, though. 81 out of 100, I think that's fair. They've got a good defense. Now let's get the special teams. Okay, Daniel Carlson. He's a top 5 kicker. He makes every single game winner. I don't really know what else to say. He misses, like, a kick a year, maybe, but my gosh, he's a beast. Even A.J. Cole. A.J. Cole was the best punter in the NFL last year. Kenyon Drake, I don't trust as a kick returner. He does drop it. He does fumble sometimes. And then Hunter Renfrow, he is a good punt returner. You might not want to have him there into this year, but who that cares? Then Trent Sieg, good long snapper. It's a good special team room. Okay, special teams. Oh gosh, B+. The actual special teams itself is good, but they do have some brain farts sometimes. So that's 4, that's 8 out of 10, which is really good. Nothing more to say. Now let's get to the depth. My one issue with the Raiders, it's their depth. Quarterbacks, C+, I guess. Running backs, B is actually probably an A. Wide receiver, B+. Tight end, C, B-. Offensive line, D. Overall offense is like a C+. Linebackers, like a C. You know, I'll give them a B. Defensive line, overall, is probably like a C-. Pass rush is an F. Cornerback, C+. Safety, D. Overall, it's like a C- again. So their depth is not good. I have to give them like a C- here. I don't think it's the worst. Like, they have backups that can play at the most important positions too. But the Bachelor's depth is very lacking. It's lacking a lot. Not only that though, but say guys get hurt. That's the problem there. I don't know if they can survive, especially in this division. But C- I think is fair there as well. So we put that in all into average. At C-. C- is, oh gosh, okay. It's out of 25, C minus. 2.33 plus 12 is 14.33 out of 25, which isn't good, obviously, but I guess it could be worse. Now let's get the overall grade. Okay, the range says it's a B plus because it's 185 points out of 235, but I got mine down to B. I think they have a really good roster. It's a B plus roster in starting wise, but the one problem is they have some holes. Not only that though, but their depth is not there. They have depth. They're a A caliber roster, B plus definitely. I can't give a team a B plus roster, a 4 out of 5, if they don't have depth, and they just don't have it right now, which is a problem. That's why I have to give them a B. But trust me, the Raiders are a really good team. They have the pedigree as well, which is huge. I love the Raiders. I really think they are a good team. They have a great culture going there. They're going to be a good team. Their roster is not the best in this division, obviously, but they're not going to be in last place, in my opinion. They're probably the third best. They're probably the worst team in terms of roster-wise, but realistically, are they going to be the worst team? In my opinion, no. Raiders fans, B out of 185 out of 235 for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. See you in the next one, and yeah, that's the Raiders 2022 roster grades.
Agnew takes it, has some room to run. He's got great speed. Agnew